I'm going to hit the record button here, and welcome to you, everyone. This is going to be a fantastic session on indigenous knowledge. In fact, Professor Mammo Muchie just wrote a book on that as well with other colleagues over here. So you are in for a treat in the sense that he's done some research on this. He moved back to Africa to teach at a university in South Africa. He's and I also love something I love about him too is that he enjoys collaboration. He enjoys collaboration. So he has collaborators in Europe, in India, in China, people he's been working with. So he is somebody that we all can learn from. Professor Muchie just stepped out. Once he comes back in, we're going to get started. But until then, can we just go around and kind of say who we are and just very, very quickly, you could just click a video and say your name.
I was trying to get water.
That's fine. That's fine. Hi, go ahead, please. Malika?
In case.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm very sorry. Professor Osiri, I'm sorry I missed a couple of sessions. It's Ramadan for us and it's coming to an end. So my name is Malika. I studied at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Then I did my master's at NYU. Now I work as a senior project manager here in Wall Street. I've been with the UN for more than 10 years, and this is an eye-opener. This course is an eye-opener, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Tim? Yeah, please go ahead and come up.
Good morning.
Turn on your videos so we can take a quick picture. Go ahead. Tim.
Yes. Ubuntu. My name is Tim. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm a software developer, entrepreneur, someone who's interested about my culture. I got kind of interested about linking back up with my homeland, my roots about 3 years ago when I did a DNA test, or sorry, genetics test, and it said that I was like 40% Cameroonian. So I wanted to learn more about my roots and so I saw a couple of videos about Osari University, and to me it was just the best place for me. I apologize for missing last week. I had to go out of town, but I'm back and excited and can't wait to hear today's lecture.
Okay, well, welcome. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually have Professor Muchie start the lecture, and throughout the lecture, I will call on everyone to ask questions, and then they get to introduce themselves along the way so that we can at least get some content in here. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to look.
So
yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, my brother, and you started Osiris University, and I hope this university will be very, very, very distinguished, and all Africans also will learn to be with it and develop it and make it a source for achieving excellence in every sphere, in the service sector, for our communities, in the teaching, learning sector, and in also research sector. I hope we will do that. So you gave me the title Indigenous Knowledge and Innovations in STEM. So I have been thinking about it. Let me just start with inspiration. And then I will also say a little bit about the significance of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and what is the definition of STEM, science and technology, what's engineering, and what's, sorry, by engineering, I meant this one, I meant mathematics, sorry.
Okay.
This should be mathematics, I should say, yeah. So I correct it now.
Right here.
Yes, no, it's fine. STEM, when when we put them together, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, when you unify them, combine them, what do they mean? Then the African roots of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and so-called indigenous knowledge and scientific knowledge. What's the difference? And how do we excavate the science technology roots from the African origin? And how do we transform the African education curriculum? And then we need to develop link between science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and indigenous knowledge as part of creating the unity of knowledge. And innovative knowledge imagination is what we need to develop. And then I'll mention to you that we have developed a journal, and I'll show you a very interesting journal that I will show you. It's called Science, Technology, Innovation Journal, and I don't know whether you see it. So I'll also mention to you that this journal is actually publishing many, over 70% of the researchers who publish are African researchers, which is African scholars. So let me start with an inspiration. Africa is a treasure trove, not only of Benin bronze, coltan from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, diamonds from Botswana. The real unmined gems are African concepts, ideas, values, ways of being, and systems of knowledge and episteme knowledge. So this is one of our brothers from Nigeria who gave this interesting, and I thought I should quote this to you. We are the richest continent in terms of resources. We are also the richest continent in terms of knowledge and philosophy in many things. But the knowledge side, we are seen as if we are poor. On the resource side, where we have it, but our people don't own it. In our knowledge side, we also have it, but others take it and deny that we created it. So we have this challenge in Africa. So when I refer to Africa, I mean the sum total of African cultures, sedimented for millennia in philosophies, wisdoms, ways of knowing, ways of being, and doing things as well as of relating to otherness. This is also another who said it in 2008. I will show you the references later, and you can actually read them. Very, very interesting books they have done. Another one is also Kadisal. She said sustainable development has to be rooted in the culture, preserving local languages and integrating ancestral practices that are good for the environment. It has to resemble you and where you want your country to go. You can't get there by being authentic, and you can do that by teaching science in the local language, such as Wolof, a language of Senegal, Gambia, Mauritania. You see, fascinating that we also need to value our language, our alphabets, all the things we created, our calendars, our philosophies, so many things that have been created from Africa that not only will help Africa, but the rest of the world. But again, we also don't cherish it. Even in our current dilemma, we have COVID, HIV, all these crazy things that the world is facing, climate change, demographic explosion. If we want sustainable development, we can also do our own ways, our own indigenous knowledge, our own practices, all the things that our people have. If we know it, we can actually make a big difference. That's what it means. The history of Africa, like the history of mankind as a whole, is really the story of an awakening. That story needs rewriting, for it has been considerably distorted by ignorance of self-interest. The self-interest of the colonial powers have actually really sincerely have damaged us very much. Our own side of not being able to actively engage and treat ourselves with exclusion have also made it so that we are actually have not valued our African history. We have devalued the history, the great knowledge heritage, the great spiritual heritage, the great struggle heritage that our own people also struggle all the time with they have fought everything, slavery, colonialism, many things, whatever, whether they win or not, the struggle has been immense. But even that we have not done. So a theory is something nobody believes except the person who made it. An experiment is something everybody believes except the person who made it. I think from Albert Einstein we should learn, but we also have a great thinker and creator in the ancient time, when the Kemet time, Imhotep, we call him the Einstein of Einstein, the genius of geniuses, because what he created is incredible. In fact, I should probably one day give a if you give me a chance, I'll give. I need to give a lecture on his entire knowledge. The knowledge world he got involved is universal. Astronomy, physics, medicine, architect. What didn't he do? Mathematics, physics, everything. In all spheres, he had knowledge, and he's amazing. So we had an African who's doing it, but then what do the Europeans say? They try to make his picture white, even though he's African. All right, he was there in the ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt was also African, until after 700 is when the current Egypt came. Before that, it was African. So that's what it is. So these are some of the inspirations, but I want me to say something about the current challenges Africa faces, and I want to put it in the inspirational context. I have done it before, so if it take a bit of time, sorry. The world is still divided by implicit or explicit classification of inferiority and superiority. Africans have not yet fully removed coloniality. They still prefer to look and affirm each other by mimicking externality. They value externality. They don't value internality, their own locality. So there is still failure to appreciate their full humanity by asserting the rich Africanity. So African identity continues to be subtracted by a degrading psychic dislocation. Africans using external colonial presence by defining themselves divisions like Lusophone, Francophone, Anglophone, ethnic phone, language phone, religion phone, gender phone, and so on. Africa is not a phone. All right, religion should not divide us. If God is one, we should not say we're Muslim, Christian, Judaic, Buddhist, everything. The way we worship the Supreme Creator should not be a way to divide us. It should be a way, we should find a way to unite us and appreciate our religions and not fight each other. I mean, this is, I just recently, in a place which never should take place like this, like in where I was born, Gondar, there was, you will not believe what happened. The person was going to funeral. In the funeral, they started bombing. This is not good. And this is politics, nothing to do with, on that place, Gondar, the two religions, Muslim and Christians, are together. For example, my side, my family, I have family who are Muslims, and I have family who are Orthodox Christians. But why would they divide us? I mean, we're together. We're always together. And my best school friends from early childhood until now, Bashir, Abdul, they are together with me all the time. And they don't say, Mammo, you're born Christian, we're born Muslim, and therefore we're different. No. This is wrong. We should not be in that. We should not be a phone. We should not be also religion phone, language phone. We should philia. We should love each other. Africans must treat one another as one human family, practicing Ubuntu truly. Building the Osiris African University use Ubuntu value really. That's what we should do. Not call some Africans as relatives and others as aliens. Africaphilia must replace all the divisive forms that turn the African one family as strangers. Africa must overcome others' continued demand to maintain their claims to superiority. Africa can reject it by showing there is no justification to continue any form of inferiority. By all Africans coming together, showing the necessity to recognize full equality, to build with the cherished rich African value of Ubuntu, one in all and all in one humanity. All humanity in one world community is what we should be striving for, not the way the world is going now. It's a very crazy world with a military industrial complex. We shouldn't produce military goods to kill people. What's the consumption of military weapons? It's to kill people. That's the consumption. The more you kill, the more you need the weapons. Those who sell this and get money. This is incredible. It's not fun. It's not nice. It's not good that this is happening. You know, not call some Africans as relatives and others as aliens. Africaphilia must replace all the divisive forms, turn the African one family not as strangers. Africa must overcome others' continued demand to maintain the claims to superiority. Africa can reject it by showing there is no justification to continue any form of inferiority. By all Africans coming together, showing the necessity to recognize full equality, to build with the cherished rich African value of Ubuntu, one in all, and one on humanity. Now, the significance of STEM. STEM is science, technology, engineering, mathematics. It's the integration of science, technology, engineering, mathematics into a new unity of knowledge, where crossing borders amongst disciplines as a resource for learning and invention is seen as very relevant and significant. To be honest with you, in fact, if you go to the traditional knowledge approach that our own has been created by us, as I just told you, that Imhotep had knowledge on every sphere, not in one discipline. Discipline idea came later. In fact, from Africa, we could get the STEM thinking is already there in the background. So education of STEM as a transdisciplinary field is new, but the integrated knowledge resource can be enriching for learners to make deeper sense of the world rather than observing through narrow disciplinary lens, bits and pieces of phenomena. As I think we could, in our case, in our reality, our problems, our difficulties, the best way to do is not to be, in a silo, disciplinary silos, but actually to cross borders and to have a knowledge world universe where there is unity of knowledge, the consilience of knowledge is actually acknowledged and valued. That's what we need to do. So definition of science and technology. Science is exploring, understanding, knowing humans, nature, and the universe. Technology is a modification of the natural world to meet to human wants and needs. It helps us to improve our health, to grow and proceed food and fiber better, to harness and use energy more efficiently, to communicate more effectively, to process data faster and accurately, to move people and things easier, to make products to enhance our lives, and to build structures that provide shelter and comfort. That's what the definition is. Engineering is the profession in which knowledge of the mathematical and natural sciences gained by study, experience, and practice are applied, with judgments to develop ways to utilize economically the materials and forces of nature for the benefit of humankind. Again, this is very interesting definition. And then mathematics is any patterns and relationships represented with the application as the science of numbers and their operations, interrelations, combinations, generalizations, and abstractions, and of space configurations. We actually did, with a brother from Nigeria, a book on engineering design and mathematical modeling. And we dedicated it to the great philosopher who created the African Enlightenment. His name is Zerako, who said, rich people are never happy. Poor people with all their problems, when they may be unhappy, but when they get something, they are more happy than the rich people. Who he says like that. It's fascinating. And then he says, reason many things when they say that Africans are only superstitious, mystical. He created amazing philosophy that long before all these European philosophers that they say they are the ones that created reason, things like that, and not Africans and other non-Western philosophers. So when we put science, technology, engineering, mathematics together as STEM, they reinforce each other with the integration of science as understanding, technology as a modification of reality, engineering as applied mathematics and science, mathematics as patterns and relationships. Combined, they can capture the deeper understanding of reality to discover evidence-anchored ways to enrich the knowledge universe, rather than each moving along isolated trajectories that may not capture fully the real world as best as it can be. So that's what it means. So African roots of STEM, the image of the African has been built upon his lowest common denominator. Ivan Sertima said this: Africa is the cradle of humanity. Civilization, astronomy, science, mathematics, and philosophy originated from Africa. There is a real challenge for Africans to understand that the difficult today and tomorrow can be transformed into a beautiful after tomorrow if Africans are prepared to look back to the deep and rich cultural contributions made by their ancestors. Our problem is that we don't know what we should know about the knowledge that was created by our ancestors. That is a serious challenge. And that is something we really need to work very, very hard to actually include it in the education system so that all the children, our children, grow up knowing so much of what has been created by their ancestors, so that they value and treasure what has been created by them, so that they do not feel, that everything they learned is external from what has come out from the colonially dominated knowledge. There's also colonial education. Education is also colonized, not just our resources and our economy and everything like that. So that's what it is. So unite Africa with STEM innovation We must unite now or perish, says, this is Kwame Nkrumah. I'm confident that by our concerned effort and determination, we shall lay here the foundations for a continental union of African states. The struggle against colonialism does not end with the attainment of national independence. We have emerged into independence in a different age, with imperialism grown stronger, more ruthless and experienced, more dangerous in its international associations. We must recognize that our economic independence resides in our African Union and requires the same concentration upon the political achievement. Is it not unity alone that can weld us into an effective force capable of creating our own progress and making our valuable contribution to world peace? We are fast learning that political independence is not enough to rid us of the consequences of colonial rule. It is said that we have no capital, no industrial skill, no communications, no internal markets, and that we cannot even agree among ourselves how best to utilize our resources for our own social needs. Yet all stock exchanges in the world are preoccupied with Africa's gold, diamonds, uranium, platinum, copper, and iron ore. We have been too busy nursing our separate states to understand fully the basic need of our union, rooted in common purpose, common planning, common endeavor. We shall link the various states of our continent with communications by land, sea, and air. We cannot afford to pace our needs, our development, our security. It's a gate of camels and donkeys. For us, it's a simpler matter of grasping with certainty our heritage by using the political might of unity. All we need to do is develop with our united strength the enormous resources of our continent. Not one of us working singly and individually can successfully attain the fullest development. Only a united Africa, functioning under a union government, can forcefully mobilize the material and moral resources of our separate countries and apply them efficiently, energetically, to bring a rapid change in the conditions of our people. We must unite, without necessarily sacrificing our sovereignties. We can forge a political union based on defense, foreign affairs, diplomacy, and a common citizenship, an African currency, monetary zone, and the central bank must unite in order to achieve the full liberation of our continent. Very interesting. There was one of the ministers in Nigeria was saying how the World Bank and IMF tried to make their currency to go down. They kept making them do like that because they own, you see, if we have our own, bank, African World Bank, then we'll have no problem. But we have serious situations. So we need STEM for competence building, embedding a total invention, innovation, learning culture in Africa, transforming Africa through knowledge, learning, innovation, competence building, establishing a Pan-African innovation system by learning and building from the past innovations using STEM by Africans for Africa, using the rich values of Africa, Ubuntu and Mat, to use STEM for innovation without transgressing social and ecological health, building a new learning and innovation integrated STEM-driven trajectory by making the Africa Union Development Agency and NEPAD very active in Africa, first affirming transformation and innovation system building. We need to work on that. Then we need to do the transforming the education system. STEM education must be compulsory from primary to tertiary level education. All Africans must be exposed to STEM education, just like food and water. STEM must be seen as the African language for invention, innovation, and knowledge, learning, innovation, competence building system. STEM should be used for total transformation of the African education culture and civilization, to change fundamentally the African educational landscape by building from, not ignoring, neglecting as it is now, the past African STEM knowledge roots to relearn and rethink the whole African developmental transformation dynamics. So I think this is quite interesting, but I must say to you that there is a lot of problem about Western and non-Western science. There are scientists like a guy called Dr. Lewis Welpert, who said all non-Western science are pre-scientific. They could not have been different, he claims, in his books, and Natural Nature of Science. Epistemological ethnocentrism was advocated. Greek seen as the cradle of Western science. Eurocentrism privileged the Greek origin of Western science. So we have this Eurocentric, Western-centric science. Science exploring, understanding, knowing humans, nature, and the universe. Why start with Greece? The emergence of modern science in the West owed major debts to many influential innovations in Asia, Africa, and Arabia. Ancient Greek is not alone. If not alone, why is it to do with weaving a Eurocentric myth that Greece was the only source of all science and knowledge? This is what they have been doing. Non-European cultures are seen as primitive. White people have an obligation to rule the world. It's a white man's burden. They must provide cultural development to others coming from the non-West, help them to become Western by encouraging or forcing them to adopt Western ways. To modernize became to be Westernized or Europeanized. So Eurocentrism continues to dominate, especially since the second half of the 19th century. From its early phase in the 18th century, not only was world history written wholesale, but universal social science was not newborn, not just as a European, but as Eurocentric invention. Eurocentrism provided the foundation of modernization theory. Civilizations like our own Africa gave up their own system to accommodate Eurocentrism at a great cost. Even China and others did the same. But China and Japan did not go as badly as Africa in falling in the Eurocentrism. We just wrote a paper with my brother Diran, and we put in a lot of the sciences from African science, Dogon science in Mali, Chinese science, Islamic science, Hindu science, non-Western science. Together, they reject Greece is the origin of science. They give examples of inventions that did not come from Greece. They show how the Greeks borrowed from others. Martin Bernal, he wrote Black Athena, a book, and they attacked him many times, but he rewrote, in fact, the book, and he showed that all the things that originated from Greek actually came from Africa. So they argued that science, it's more, they developed not Eurocentrism. So Eurocentrism continues to dominate though. Eurocentrism is still dominant. Non-Western science is not acknowledged, not just by the West, but also by dominated non-West. Our one culture science still not there. There is still raging debates on science.
Professor Muchie,
yes.
This is a good place. If you don't mind, please, let's take a quick pause and just see if we could get some reactions so far. But from some of the things that you've heard so far, please, you could come up or you could just unmute yourself. You may have some questions, you have some things you would like to share. This is a good time for us to do that. Malika,
Professor Osiri, yeah, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So this is a very, very important subject, and I can relate, especially when you said about the religious divide and ethnic divide. My question is the following. So like in my country, the problem is that religious people have the power and the money, and they exploit young people to, to go to school, to their school and all that. How does African countries deal with that? You talked about STEM projects. Do they have projects where they, let's say, poor people can go to and study for free rather than turning into religious institution?
Please tell us your country, because we did that.
Yes, of course. My country is Tajikistan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for your good question. What you asked is very important, because still what I also said, if you remember, is that the knowledge that is created from our side is not included in the education system. And then the governments, the politicians, all the stakeholders, they are not active in terms of doing that. So what we need now is like, look what our brother has now initiated. Like we have Osiris University like this. They need to be the ones now to actually create a curriculum, many things like that. So this excluded knowledge on every sphere has to be now added. And then, of course, the question then is, the question you ask is very important, which is, how would this add value? In other words, in terms of even these young people studying this and graduating, we don't want them to be unemployed. We also want them to create something very, very useful. So what it means is, if we say the science, technology, innovation side, if we say indigenous knowledge to be innovated, means be related to usefulness and to adding something new and something useful. In fact, in the areas where all the ordinary, our own people live, we should actually, they do know many things, but the way they do it is not, what they produce may not be even, they don't get added value to it. So we need to, in fact, create a new system where we go on the bottom of the pyramid and rise it and really revive it and make it, initiate it to make sure that real production, real new activities are coming from all the knowledge that already exists. So these people become valued when they, for what they know is actual knowledge recorded and even used, and even they are engaged in it in a very practical way. There's something we need to do like that. And I think that's very, very important that it's not easy to do it because there are different interests, external interests are there. Internally, we're all divided also by all kinds of things. But then we need to initiate on the science, technology, innovation side. If we build it like that and give it credibility, then it may be difficult for these people who want to fight us to actually do winning at all. That's something that I suggest. Thank you.
Thank you. Malika, I think you also asked about the young people who are turning to religious schools.
Yes, yes, exploited by religious institutions.
Okay, and how is that exploitation happening? Can you give examples? Are they being brainwashed and being asked to do certain things that you call exploitation? Can you be more specific?
Yes, so in Tajikistan, with the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, we worked with not all, I have to specify this, not all religious institutions, but it came to our attention that some religious institutions use these young people and then send them to Syria, and they join ISIS. So my worry is that this keeps happening and the number is still growing. So my question to both of you, what are the ways? Yes, you spoke about the Osiri University and initiation like this, but what is another way of stopping this and getting their interest into science and projects like this? And the other thing is the way they appeal. Oh, thank you. The way they appeal is by, so they have funding. And they say that if you come and study with us, we give that money to your family. And of course, the desperation calls for them to survive. It's an instinct. So that's another question. How can we stop this?
Yes. Can Osiris, can you start?
Sure.
How would Osiris University deal with this religious? Yes. Because we need to change we want to change the young people to come to not be into religion.
Yeah, yes, we don't want them to fall into the hands of religious fanatics who are going to exploit them for their selfish and wicked ends. So one of the things we are doing at Osiri University, which in a sense could be a model that can be sort of expanded, is we are connecting our education to practical development. So when we invite people to come and learn, we say, okay, come and take courses, but also you get a chance to get a loan or get some money to start a business, right? So I think the economic space is very important. And you are right, because that is what that has been dangled. They dangle economics and money. It's like, okay, we'll give your family money, and they have it. So what we need to do is start raising a pool of money to support and to support students so we can counter those kind of efforts. So that's what we're doing. And so, of course, we don't have enough to go around and give to every student. So we say, take some courses, learn, and then compete and get a chance to win an investment opportunity. But if this is very important to us, what we need to do is raise that pool of money so that others can participate. I think a team might also have some ideas. I mean, I think the team is working on some ideas that has to do with creating employment as well. Maybe team, you want to share that idea that you have to create employment in Africa? That could be a model too, in addition to what we do. Go ahead, please.
Please do, brother team.
I believe that was a great question, and I think that's just not an issue in her country. It's an issue in a lot of countries with African in the diaspora. We want to save this generation, and the first thing we must do is we have to feed this generation, because resources come first. I believe in Maslow's hierarchy of philosophy
Of
about
needs.
achieving. You must have shelter, you must have substance, you must have security. So before we can teach anyone, we have to feed them. We must have resources, and we're fighting a lot of different distractions from religion and music, the hip hop generation and all this, that glorifies wealth and resource. We're fighting a lot of distractions, but we can do it. I believe that we can do it. So my thing was, what I was trying to create was let's create a system where we all are like people like me who have resources. We're helping our brothers who don't have resources, those young kids in Africa, those young kids in other countries. Let's help them. Let's help them with our resources. They help us and we help them, and we create this connection. And then once we help to feed them, then we can talk to them about science, engineering, and the business aspect. But first, there's a saying in this book I was reading. It says that if there's a battle between the mind and the belly's going to win. So we have to make sure we create these resources, and I'm working on it. And Osiri University is the foundation of everything. And, and to me, we have to invest in this brother's platform, because it is where he's talking about. He has everything covered: the finances, the science, the business mindset. That to me, that's why I am going to be here, and I am going to support, because I know what he's doing and where it can take us. He's addressing all the issues.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to say it's a team effort. Thank you so much, Tim. And Malik, I'm sure you'd also appreciate the fact that if I'll paraphrase a quote, that evil abounds because good people do nothing. Mm-hmm. And the reason, and another quote that's in line with that is the idea that, when intelligent people don't get involved in politics, the idiots and the ignorant people will rule over them. So it's time for the Malikas of the world, to rise up and speak up and start a movement or start a community. You have to speak up. You have to begin with your friends. We got to do something about this, right? Otherwise, if we are just waiting for for the leaders to correct, it will never happen. So the good people like yourselves will have to start doing something, and it's just difficult. And the thing is, sometimes I ask myself, this is not fair, because we have limited resources, we have families to feed, we have other obligations, and now we have to take on issues of the community. Well, that is our lot, Malika. That is. If you are thinking about it, you are called to do it. It's our gift. It's our lot. So that is the way we need to develop a counter movement to address these issues. And that movement will have to bring people on board, and we have to raise money to help these young people. So that will be my response, Malik. I don't know if that helps a little bit. Maybe we can turn it back over to Professor Muchie to respond.
Okay. I think what you responded is very good. It's very important that we do not, these schools that are created by different churches or most or others, like the kind of thing they create, all the Protestant churches and all of them. You're right. We have challenges because they value religious differences rather than what we should be doing. Is we should be all thinking about there's a supreme God, and all religions and the way we worship and reach out to God should not be seen as if one way is better than another. I think some new value, some new approach should be also done, because the way religions are doing it, they have been fighting, creating wars, many differences. So I think we need to find ways to bring them, to make them, if God is one, our way of worshiping God, we should not say my way is better than your way, and then my way is approved by God, your way is not approved by God. That kind of thing. This is the problem we have now, and the world is divided because of this. And then you can see that so many religious wars, Boko Haram, many things are happening, strange things are happening. So because of all these difficulties we have, we need, as you rightly put it, there must be a way, ideally to be nice, if the education system is run by what we're now suggesting, with this knowledge, the knowledge created even from the religions. The Islamic knowledge, there's a lot of knowledge, what we call it even Islamic science. There's a lot from the Quran, everything. We could draw those kinds of things, those kinds of knowledge, and everyone should learn them. It should not be done only by religion, with religion. See, for example, I did a course on Western science. The ideas of science was the first course I was teaching. Then Gita Al-Harak, there was a young woman from Morocco originally, and she just said, why only teaching atama, all this optics, everything? There's a lot of science from the Islam, so why didn't you also include those? So it took me about 2 years to struggle in the British. I was in the engineering department in a university in England, and I was running a course on science technology. And then I just simply developed it. Then we developed a whole non-Western science course, and I ran it for 2.5 years. After that, I left the university. If I didn't leave, I would have continued it, and we'd have developed a whole new way by which even from religious sources, we can also draw, but then we don't make it religious. We actually make it more science. And again, others also learn it, not just those who come from that religion, from Islam, but also non-Islamic, all these people learning it. Me, myself, I'm not Islam, but I taught it because I even read the Quran and things like that and did it. So things like that we could do. There's a lot we could do, but then the main approach should be the science, technology, innovation side. As we said, non-Western science, coming from different sources, from religious sources, from different cultures, from different countries, and so on. So we can do it like that. So there's a lot we could do. Thank you.
Can we get another question before we move on? Another question or comment? Yeah, Samira, go ahead and come up, and yep, there you go.
Hi, Brother Muchie. Did I pronounce it right? Muchie?
Yes, you did it perfectly.
Amazing.
In the Ethiopian language is Muchie, but
Muchie,
you call it.
Okay, I say it correctly. I don't want to whitewash it. Brother, are you from Ethiopia? I get an Ethiopian vibe.
Yes, I'm from Ethiopia.
Okay.
Yes,
we're neighbors. I'm from Somalia.
All right, but you look Ethiopian. So
I get that a lot. Like, I'll be out in the street. I'm from London. I'll be out in the street and Ethiopian people just come up to me and start talking. I'm like, I wish I could understand what you're saying. I love the food, but you know what's funny? I did a DNA test and it did say I have 24.9% Eritrean and Ethiopian, so maybe that's why. And Somalia is next door, I guess.
We're all the same. We're all Africans. We're one.
100%. My question to you. So Brother Siri was saying that you are living in Africa now. Is that in Ethiopia or somewhere else?
No, South Africa.
South Africa, cool. The reason why I asked that is because in the next couple of years, my plan is to also move back to Africa, as the West is not for me. I was born and raised in London, but I feel like I need the sun. I need the spirit of African people around me every day. I need the fresh fruits. I need the ocean. This is not life. Where I live is not life. And I have a lot of ideas for things that I want to like build back home when it comes to things of service and things of like innovation as well. But my question to you is like, how can we bridge that gap between making the journey back home really. And like, is there any advice you can give on like settling and stuff like that?
That's very interesting. You mentioned that, very good. I have Osman Abdel Farah. He's from Somalia originally, but when I was teaching in Scandinavia, he was my PhD student. Now he has become a professor. Now I'm telling him he must go back to Somalia and teach. And I also made him here adjunct. I in the university where I have, he has become an adjunct. So I gave him an adjunct position. So he definitely will come here too. So maybe what we could find is, now that we're connected with you and we are also connected to Osiris University, we'll definitely bring it. No, I had similar ideas with you. I was teaching all the time in Europe and America, everywhere. And then I said, at some point, I said, I've had enough of Europe. I want to go to Africa. Then I had a Ghanaian brother. His name is Paul Opokomensa. He's from Ghana. He said, okay, Mammo, let's go to Ghana, he said. I said, no. I can't go to Ghana. I must go to South Africa. The reason why I say South Africa was because I used to fight when I was a young man, I fought against apartheid. I even went to jail, many things like that I have done. So because of that.
Were you part of the ANC?
No, not the ANC, just a student movement in America, where student organization for Black unity and things like that. We had very strong movements in the United States and everything. We also fought racism in the US and things. Because I was active, so I said to him, if I go, I must go to South Africa.
Is it Cape Town where you are?
I couldn't go to Ethiopia because of the Ethiopian politics. It's very complicated. I would have loved to go to Ethiopia, but now I'm still struggling to want to go to Ethiopia. At least before, I mean, the family is there, everything is there, so I need to go. I need to go, but I have not been able to go because of all this strange politics, this ethnic politics, many things like that. Even Somalia, Ethiopia, we should be together, but you are also divided. You are French, what they call you, Italian Somaliland, British Somaliland. I mean, they divide you. And that colonial mistake, the British ones say we're superior to the Italian ones. See, that kind of thing. The Somalis say, the problem. We have a big problem, colonialism. We still are colonized. We haven't left it.
Mentally, at least.
Yes, but now you are saying you want to decolonize by coming to the sunshine. Please come, radiate the sunshine.
Have you been to Africa before, Samira?
Yes, I've been to Kenya multiple times because my uncle used to live there. I've been to Egypt. I've been to Morocco, and you know what's really amazing? The reason why you're probably wondering why I'm a bit lighter than most Somalis, brother Muchie, is because I have some Yemeni in me. But last December that just went by, I found out a few months prior that my mum's grandma was from Zanzibar, so I took a solo trip to Tanzania.
That's
and
Zanzibar. Amazing.
Wow. My soul was restored. Like, I miss it so much. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure where I want to go in Africa to live, but I'm really drawn to places like Senegal, Mali. Like the culture and the history is so rich. Like the Dogon tribe, you mentioned it. They were the founders of like astronomy and astrology and constellation. Like, and the West just borrow and pickpocket the best parts of each and brand it as their own. And I'm over
Not
it.
their own. They steal it and they tell us we didn't create it. Yeah, they deny it.
And then they get into our minds and make us think that it's less valuable because it didn't come from the West or their institutions. It makes no sense.
That's right. Yeah. And then the problem is outside, we try, because they have powerful media and everything, they control that. So our mind, we start feeling it. We start accepting what we should not accept. That's the problem. Our biggest problem is that we accepted a lot of the things, and now we need to bring it back. That's why we need an Osiris University. Our brother JK, you should really help us with this university. We must curriculate the whole thing, and this young sister like her, we should really make sure that their energy is very fascinating. She was born in England, but she still is very African.
Africa was born in me. You know what else as well would be amazing? Like talks around the world, bringing together people like yourselves and people who are like specialists in different areas, conferences.
Yes.
networking, even an app to network with. Like, I have quite a few ideas of like when I move to Africa, how I will make money and how I also want to pour back, so I can share that if you're curious. So what I'm really into like natural healing. So whether that's herbs, whether that is indigenous plant medicine, just finding ways of returning ourselves back to a state of like, and even when you mentioned Imhotep, I was like, no, this brother is serious. You have to do that talk, please. Like, there's so much about Kemet that sorry, I'm talking too much.
I need to give a lecture on him, a special lecture.
Thank you.
On Imhotep, huh?
Yes, I think we need. You need to give me a time at some point. I need to do
please.
it.
The
to
father
do it,
of medicine.
For everyone to know what he did, it takes a lot of research from my side to let you know, so that you actually, you'll be amazed. You'll be completely amazed. I have read about him, but I have not made a presentation yet about him. I made a presentation in the Pan-African University. They were all excited. But it was a brief one. But I want to make more about him.
You're such an inspirational brother, and may God, the universe, whatever you believe in, bless you abundantly, because to take the knowledge and all the experience of what you've learned and to pour it into other people is such a blessing. Like,
thank you.
Good on you. You're very inspiring, and I hope we can connect, because I feel like there's a lot that
we will.
Yeah,
we'll support you. You need to be supported. I really appreciate you say you want to. You will contribute a lot. Trust me. You'll be just the very fact that when you leave, a lot of people want to go to Europe. So when some of you born there say you want to come, it's so nice. I am more inspired by that. So you're inspiring us. Keeps inspiring us.
I have one idea that I feel like I want to share real quick. So one of the things that I am thinking of launching is some type of app or online space, where a platform where we can you know how, like, for example, with the stock exchange and things like this, it's always channeling your money into like Western companies, but I feel like there's so much potential in Africa and the diaspora. I'd love to create a platform where, like, not only so people, like, a side of it that is for crowdfunding, whether that is for charitable projects or whatever, but a side of it to actually invest into people's businesses and to see returns. And I feel like building economic, because I'm not going to lie, like, as much as annoying as money can be and the search for it has an important place, especially when it comes to like our people back home, because there's so many resources, but they're just being mismanaged by these corrupt governments who don't know what they're doing. But if you put the power back into the people's hands and create programs where we can train them about business or entrepreneurship in a world kind of setting, like whether that's online business, selling crafts, selling all these things, like, I have a lot of ideas, but I just need to ground them a little bit.
Thank you. Anyway, we'll work on it.
Very quickly, we were also planning on organizing a trip to Africa right after Marvel in the summer. But I think it might be too short notice to do that this summer. So we'll definitely plan on doing it next year. So Samira, since you've already been to Africa, actually spent Christmas in Kenya in 2019. So we're thinking Kenya, Benin, Ghana. Those are the three areas that we because we have contacts.
I have a few friends who live in Ghana. They actually moved. They were born in the UK, but they'd always travel back. They're two girls. They moved back there end of last year. Ghana would be great. But you know what? Also, if you didn't want to wait till next year, in the West, our winter is Africa's summer. So that could also be a good time, like maybe just before Christmas or in November. And there's so many travel pages that have all these different blogs. I need to connect you. There's this one brother who he's actually British as well. He does these trips back to Kemet. He's like an Egyptologist. This man's knowledge is just beyond anything I've ever come across. I don't know him personally, but like we used to chat online and stuff. And he does these tours back to Kemet every single year during the summer solstice and the spring equinox. But what's really interesting is that he makes it really like culturally enriching experiences. Like when he goes to these places, it's not just this was built by this person. He'll give you the history about the different deities, gods, goddesses, the pharaohs. Like his knowledge is immense. I'm gonna send you his Instagram page. I think if you connect with him, oh, and he is in partnership with a man who builds orphanages and schools in all over Africa as well. Yeah, it's all about connecting. As you said, brother Muchie, it's all about just using all our different expertise to create a hub, you know? Yeah,
Absolutely.
this makes me so excited. I start talking fast.
No, that's very good.
Great.
That's very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thank you.
we can continue, Professor Muchie. I think you see why it's important for us to take a break and let people, speak their piece a little bit and enrich the conversation. So we all can enjoy. Okay. So do you have your own slides up, or do you want me to pull up?
No, I'll just put the slide up. But I'm going to do it from the dispute of science to knowledge. Knowledge. What is knowledge? I'm going to go to from indigenous to scientific knowledge.
What slide number is that, please?
Number 34, 35.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna put that up. You can go ahead while I find it, please.
Yes. So from knowledge 2 has different modes of being. Mode 1 is disciplinary based and narrow. Mode 2 is interdisciplinary and interactive, opening the knowledge space for exchange and communication. Mode 3 is knowledge adds to interdisciplinary knowledge, what my good friend, Professor Andrew Jamison, characterizes as a hybrid imagination. Each mode has claims to epistemological purity and theories of research to create knowledge. This classification is within the modern scientific knowledge of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It does not address the important knowledge that's classified as indigenous knowledge, broad-based innovation, community-level knowledge. That's where our knowledge is. Mostly it's yet not recorded very well. So from indigenous to scientific knowledge. Knowledge, like the two cultures of science, has both indigenous and scientific characteristics. The mode 1 to 3 classification is within modern scientific knowledge of science, technology, engineering, mathematics. It does not address the important knowledge that's classified as indigenous knowledge, broad-based innovation, community-level knowledge. So what is indigenous knowledge? But indigenous knowledge cannot be ignored. Indigenous knowledge is very relevant, and it's also called traditional and local knowledge. Indigenous knowledge is a product of cultures, traditions, values, beliefs, experience, transmitted from generations. Not universities and the academy is what it is in. Though it needs universities, governments, and academies to excavate, record, code, and develop indigenous knowledge. Our universities, all of them, don't like to go to the areas where our indigenous knowledge exists. They go to Europe and, to different universities and so on. What they should be doing is actually linking with the communities and the knowledge and then bring it out, but that they are not doing. I hope Osiris will do this. So difference between indigenous knowledge and scientific knowledge. Indigenous knowledge is subordinated. Scientific knowledge is dominant. It's a colonial thing. Indigenous thinking style is seen as intuitive. Scientific knowledge is seen as analytical and reductionist. Indigenous knowledge communication approach is mainly oral, storytelling, experiential. Scientific knowledge is said to be academic, positivist, and objective. Indigenous knowledge is explanation, spiritual, and inexplicable. Scientific knowledge is scientific hypothesis, laws, and so on. So you have these variations and differences. So indigenous knowledge is getting recognition. But indigenous knowledge recognized for social and economic development at the rural and community level.
Professor
Even
Muchie,
the World Bank. Yes.
Professor, I have a question about this, though.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Please. Do you agree with these differences, though? I mean, no, are you saying? Are you accepting that indigenous knowledge is not scientific?
No. I'm not saying that. This is what they are saying.
Okay.
This is how they are making. To be honest with you, knowledge should not be again divided like color, like religion, like all these things. No, we should not do it.
Okay.
They are doing it. These are the people that are sending the stories.
Okay.
I am saying to you now, let's fight this one.
Okay.
Let's change it. Yeah. Even the challenge is how to develop indigenous by organizing a knowledge piece that leads to a positive sum game between indigenous knowledge, scientific knowledge, technology, engineering. Keep the identity of IK. We must not lose the identity of indigenous knowledge, even when promoting it. to bring out the transformative components from IK by integrating with STEM, modern science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and innovation. All I'm simply saying to you is STEM, as we know, as I've described it to you, can actually be linked to indigenous knowledge. All we need is innovation, not exclusion, not saying that one is like this, another is like this. No, I think there are many, many ways by which this embedments can be done. 4 steps can be taken to link IQ STEM: socializing, externalizing, combining, internalizing, and embedding. These things we need to do. I think this is a kind of thing that we need to develop, transforming explicit knowledge into a more systemic, from making explicit knowledge to be communicated, diffused, and systematized. That's what we need to do. We need to develop knowledge like that. And we need to make it explicit, embedded, and all the tacit and the indigenous knowledge, making it more complex and dynamic with STEM. That's what we need to do. So, and as I mentioned to you, examples from Africa, there's so many knowledge that have originated from us. Protomatics, Lombo-born, Ishago born, from Congo, from Swaziland, from Rehan, and how can I say to ancient Egypt, sonar geometry, Angola, symmetrical mathematics, ideas for mirror curves, various class of matrices. I mean, these are all seen as indigenous knowledge, but they have been done from scientific knowledge that have come, as I mentioned to you, Imhotep and all, African fractals, binary logic in Yoruba culture, for both computation, metaphysics, many things like that. I mean, African examples in physics, chemistry, engineering, astronomy, there are many. Physics, the level of screw, chemistry, what can I say? Imhotep, father of medicine, all of them, astronomy, ancient Egypt, solar calendar, Dogon, all of this we have. African philosophy, concept of personhood, communalism, African humanism, even, you know, the Gracia reconciliation in Rwanda that was done, critical retrieval, applied to study STEM, cell research in California, environmental philosophy, eco-biocommunitarianism, epistemology, the nature of knowledge, values, and in Yoruba culture, it's incredible. Acknowledgement of African contribution from Western research universities. Africans also have originated many scientific discoveries. Evidence has been acknowledged by astronomers, engineers from Western research universities that in many major inventions, documented contributions have been made by Africans. Carbon steel was made 2,000 years ago in Tanzania. Astronomical observations in the Mali of the Dogons have been acknowledged by Carl Siegel, Cornell University. Language, mathematical systems, architecture, agriculture, category, navigation, inland water, waste and open seas, medicine, communication, writing systems. In all these fields, Africans have been inventors. There are some Western professors that have actually done some recognition of many of this African knowledge that have been created. But that is only a few of them. But the majority are actually negative. African knowledge in agriculture is rich. This has been recognized and acknowledged fully by the US Academy of Science in 1990s, that Africa has more native cereals than any other continent. It has its own species of rice, as well as finger millet, fonio, feral millets, sorghum, teff, Guinea millet, and several dozens wild cereals whose grains are eaten. This is a food heritage that has fed people for generations, possibly stretching back to the origins of humankind. It's also a local legacy of genetic wealth upon which a sound food future might be built. But strangely, it has been bypassed in modern times. Forward-thinking scientists are starting to look at the old cereal heritage with unbiased eyes. Peering past the myth, they see waiting in the shadows a storehouse of resources whose qualities offer promise, not just to Africa, but the world. The Ethiopian crop teff is medicine. It has still great potential to be the nutrition for a healthy living. Food security in Africa should not be in doubt at all. Quoted from our book, Putting Africa First, The Making of African Innovation Systems. I think most of you should read that book. It's a very good book. Ancient Ethiopian mathematics have the whole binary logic mathematics that has been created that we now use for the internet system. It comes from us, from Africa. This has been now acknowledged by the Open University. The BBC has even broadcast it. And that's what the binary logic mathematics looks like is like this. And I'll just send it to you, not take a long time. You don't multiply 7 times, you take 14 is you know, times 4, 28 times 2, you know, how you do it. You do it like binary. Binary means 9 times 2, 18, 18 times 2, 36, 36 times 2, 72, 70 times 2, 144. So 9 times 16, 18 times 8, 36 times 4. 16 is what? 16 divided by 2 is 8, divide 8 divided by 2 is 4, 4 divided by 2 is 1. So it comes like that. So this is a binary logic. This is a kind of system that the university, that internet world now is using. That mathematical model is what came from Africa. So the entire digital world that we live in, mathematically, is us, is Africans. The first university in the world was African. There's also a Haile Stephanos in Ethiopia. Is said to be the earliest university, but the Al-Qaroni University, founded by an African woman in Fez, Morocco, is recognized by the Guinness Book of Records. And then the second university is Al-Azhar University in Egypt, again 690. In Europe, the University of Bologna, 1080, 229, after the first university of the African woman. I have written this on New African Magazine. You can look at it. I give you the reference. You can see my description of it, how it comes. So imagining innovative, embedding a total invention, innovation, learning culture in Africa. Transforming, not putting religion, all these differences, going beyond differences, uniting Africa, creating a unified university where we embed everything with innovation future index. We need to develop like that. Transforming Africa through knowledge, learning, innovation, competence building, establishing a Pan-African innovation system by learning and building from the past innovations using STEM by Africa for Africa, using the rich values of Africa, as I said you before, and then Africa-centered STEM for innovation without transgressing social and ecological health, building a new learning and innovation traditional, modern, integrated STEM-driven tech by making the Africa Union Development Agency and NEPA to be active in Africa, first affirming, transforming, and the innovation system building. That's what we need. Now we need the STEM education system, transforming the education. This is not easy, but this is what we need. Engage in diffusion, popularization of African history and philosophy, of science, technology in both formal and informal settings. Efforts in indigenous knowledge system should look at both the techniques and worldview. Also, bifurcation with modern knowledge should be reduced. As you said before, what we must not bifurcate it, we should integrate it. Scientific knowledge should be made available in African languages for all to access. Scholars and policymakers in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, innovation related disciplines should tap into African knowledge heritage as a means of providing a multi-force inspiration and set of guidance for a liberated path to nation building. STEM education must be compulsory from primary to tertiary level education. All Africans must be exposed to STEM education, just like food and water. STEM must be seen as the African language for invention, innovation, and knowledge, learning, innovation, competence building systems. STEM should be used for a total transformation of the African education culture and civilization to change fundamentally the African education landscape by building from not ignoring, neglecting, as it is now, our indigenous knowledge, to including it, making be a core, a foundation for the STEM knowledge roots, to relearn and rethink the whole African development transformation dynamics. That's what we need to do. And that's my suggestion. And we have this journal, I told you, we have a journal, African Journal of Science, Technology, Innovation. And I think this journal is very, I don't know if you could see it. Are you able to see it? Can you see it? Hello?
Yes, I can, but raise it up a little bit more. You can raise it up a little bit more.
Yes, this is a journal. It's the African Journal of Science Technology. This is now the 14th issue is coming. 7 issues a week, over 70% of the scientific papers are from Africa and on Africa. So that's very, very good. So we are doing that. So just to finish, well, I'm nearly finished now. This journal is very good. We should follow it up. And then we need, the unity of knowledge is very, very important. This And I think we need it because there's a real need to do consilience for unity building indigenous knowledge in STEM in order to also link indigenous knowledge in STEM with the social and human sciences. Indigenous knowledge in STEM can be one way that unity of knowledge can be made by finding how the natural, human, social science can be synergized. New approaches of redesigning, re-engineering, the consilience, the unity of knowledge is, and I think this is what we need to develop very much. And we need to read from this book, The Unity of Knowledge, to develop how we can do our own also. So we can create IKS African Innovation System, and we can link it up very interestingly with all aspects of the knowledge connected. So IKS STEM inclusion, the education system urgent, new textbook design urgent, real African STEM books series critical. African World Press is keen to start the series. And this Africa World Press is, I'm involved with some brothers from Kenya. I think we should include them with Osiris University. In fact, this Africa World Press could also be part of Osiris University Publishing. You could be included. Let's just discuss about that. The brothers from I work with are two brothers from Ghana and Nigeria, so we work together on it. African Union and all those who claim Pan-Africanism should work together with trust to build the African Union Education Commission to guide systematically the whole education. We have been trying to suggest an African Union Education Commission, and we sent to the African Union to say if they could set it up, but we've never heard from them. To transform the whole education system in Africa, I think the best is what Osiris has done. I think you build it up, and when you build it, they come to you. It's better than asking them to help us to do it, because as you know, the politicians are complicated. To transform the whole education system in Africa as a whole, being the African STEM back and use it to build deeper the education curriculum with the African knowledge heritage. Talk less, do more. Let's move forward and upward to make Africa achieve full agency, dignity, pride, and independence. Reimagine Africa as an innovator now, not tomorrow. The future innovation index is what the African one we should build. I think that's what I suggest. So to create an African Unity for Renaissance project identity, to promote smart growth based on unified knowledge, learning, and innovation, inclusive growth that combines the knowledge of the community with the knowledge of the academy, sustainable growth that utilizes natural resources by combining the human, natural, spiritual worlds with moral intelligence, creates STEM with African languages. STEM must be curriculum with the African origin, fully acknowledged. African Unification Commission must be established to create the African freedom. But now Osiris University should be the one where the African University has not done. So the African origin of science must be acknowledged as the foundation of Western science. Eurocentric science must be resisted. IK, STEM, and the unity of knowledge must be promoted together. From kindergarten to tertiary level Africa, through the establishment of the African, the Osiris University must revamp and decolonize the whole education system. Osiris can start it, and it can be the model and example. So some references, and so thank you very much. I finished. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
That is great. Thank you so much for that information. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's open it up for some more questions and dialogue and comments, please. Yeah, thanks. You're getting some applauses, Professor Muchie.
Thank you.
Any comments? Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away if you have any questions or if you have any comments or contribution, please.
Thank you, Prof. Muchie, for that insightful presentation. On your concluding remarks, one of the recommendations you make is about how we can pivot on our natural resources for sustainable growth. And when we look at Africa to our natural resources, we very much suffer from what generally is referred to as the resource curse. We have an abundance of resources. We're not developing. Our politicians, when they get into power, resources are being exploited for personal aggrandizement. How can we then get this transformation when the political forces themselves that are in power are actually pushing a selfish agenda for self-enrichment and primitive accumulation of wealth?
Very, very important question. I think it's a serious challenge we face. We have the richest resources. We are the poorest people. How could we be still external actors are the ones that have access to us? Look at what's happening in the DRC Congo. That has the DRC is said to have resources estimated to 24 trillion. That's a combined gross national product of all of Europe and America in one place in Africa alone. Frantz Fanon called it the heart of Africa. And who is now always creating problems still now? The conflict is not over. The Belgians and the French. They are there always complicating the situation. And they still use resources. And so our problem is, as you rightly put it, how can we really find a way for Africans to own, as Africans first, their resources? And how do we deal with them? The best way would be if we're able to unite and create even our own. Look what Gaddafi tried to do. He wanted to create the Afro. He collected enough gold to create the African World Bank. He said it, I mean, and then when he did it, they fought him, Sarkozy and others, and they took all the gold. And look what's happening in Libya. And then they got support from France, from Nigeria, from South Africa. All of them also support you see, the West, they support the West. Recently in Mali, the French were misbehaving and Mali refused. Then Ghana and Nigeria supported France, not Mali. What is the problem? I don't know. My brother, I'm just confused about us. Why is the African Union also not relying on funding its own self? Why does it get a lot of its funding from the European Union? If they give you money, they're going to control you. I just told you, we suggested to them the African Union Commission, Education Commission. We sent a whole proposal, like this kind of proposals. I did it with a number of people. I never got any response from them. So, no, you're right. How do we change this? I think the best thing is to change our people. To like this young, lovely sister now, Samira, what she just said. We need people, we need our young people to be very energetic and to be very rooted. And then if we are united, then we may not have these strange, corrupt politicians who are more interested in their pocket than serving the people. Because they are interested in their pocket, they ally with all stealers, those who steal, and they never unite with our people. We have this challenge. I don't know, my brother, how we could do it. Every time our leaders that have been for Africa, they have been killed. They have been betrayed. Samora Machel, and people like that. I mean, you know, I mean, everybody, how can I say to you? Yeah, you know, Patrice Lumumba, all of them. They get, you know, Kwame Nkrumah, or everyone was who tried to be for Africa. They get, they get attacked. In Burkina Faso, you know, all you know, the guy now, the guy who was the best friend, you know, Compaoré, who is now in Cote d'Ivoire. He's now, they are now saying to him he should be in life sentence. Yeah. But you see, that's the biggest problem we have. I don't know. We need to know how to trust each other, even have our value, our Ubuntu. You are me, I'm you, you are me. If I hurt you, I'm hurting myself. We should have these values. If we do, if somebody comes to give me money and say, hurt your brother, I should say to hell with your money. My brother is, I value him more. We should be saying things like that. We don't have that value yet now. We are just, I think it's because a lot of people are poor. I don't know, because of all the complications. the crime is high. I see it everywhere because they commit crime because they don't have any way to survive, my brother. But we need to change it through education. The education system, moral education is also, moral intelligence is important. All right, values like our own values, like Ubuntu, all this, we need to put it in the education system. You see, we're one family, we're one, we're not many. You see, we should say things like that. Yeah.
Thanks for that
Thank you.
perspective. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question.
Go ahead, please.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Unmute yourself and ask away.
Professor Muchie, thank you for your presentation today. It was amazing. I want to touch on what you said today earlier when you said that about the minds or the resources in Africa, the people. And I think that's really important because while they're digging in the mines, the real resource and the real valuable mines is the African mind. And and you know, us Africans in diaspora last year, billions of dollars went through our hands. Billions of dollars went through the hands of Africans in the diaspora that we spent with the people here in the West, and you know, we didn't spend with our brothers. If we can pull those resources and help our brothers in Africa, we can start to make exponential change on the continent. It's not just we shouldn't just hope that Africans figure it out. No, we are Africans, and we have to help our brothers. And we have the resources. The Sister Samara, what she said was actually a great idea that we're working on, how we can create a bank with the blockchain, and Africans throughout the diaspora we waste billions of dollars each year on nonsense. We can use that money for the young minds in Africa and support them, support their education, support their ideals, their startups. And we can do that. It's not something that, you know, it's just, you know, that's why I like Osiri University. It's not, because it's not about talking, because I think we focus on problems so much and we get caught in this thought loop about problem. Well, we know the problem. Let's work on solution. Let's let's work on solution. And we can do this. And I think it starts with, you know, the communication and the education for us around the world. But I think that like the Sister Malika, she was trying to figure out what to do in her homeland. Well, Dr. Osari corrected me last week, a couple weeks ago, when he said that you don't need 1,000 people. You just need maybe just 2 people. That's an organization, 2 people, and you can replicate what they're doing on Siri. You can do that in your homeland, Malika. You can take what they're doing at the university there and do it. It only takes 2 people. Just create a dialogue, and then we talk about resources. But I believe if we really want, this is my own personal theory. If we really want to help our brothers on the continent, it is up to us here in the West and Africans in the diaspora to come together and pool our resources and support those brothers. Support those brothers instead of just, you know, well, it has nothing to do with, no, it affects you. Because I can't even make a phone call without African technology. So it you know, everything we had. There's a great book, The African Unconsciousness. I can't remember who wrote it. It's a great book. We should read it, and we can see how Africa affects us every single day. I don't care if you're in New Guinea, Africa. The African unconsciousness affects us every single day. So you can turn your back on Africa, but Africa is still going to affect you in your daily life. And I believe that the key is what the brother Dr. Osiri has created. Osiri, that type of foundation, that blueprint is how we're going to save not just Africans, but Africans around the world. Because if you want to be technical, we're all African. Thank you. But thank you for your presentation today, brother. It was very enlightening. I'm glad you blessed us with your presence.
Thank you. No, I like your comments too. You know, very good discussions, very relevant discussions. All of you are saying. So we need to focus now on how to change our mindset. It's a serious matter, and especially the youth. We start early on. Start from the family. I mean, I am a bit worried. For example, here in South Africa, I hear over 70% of the children do not have fathers. That's what I hear. I don't know how true it is. How can children grow without parents? If parents are the most critical, necessary condition before you send them to school, the way the parents are critical. So, so we in our African, this the book series we have created, we have now created a new book. I think all of you, maybe I should send you the link about also how to treat our children, how to treat also. Look, this is the book. Just look at it. It's a book, but I don't think you're able to see it. Finally, the book, How to Make Your Wife Happy, is out. So you, the wives, must be treated properly too. The children must be treated properly. There must be a relationship that really makes sense. If we don't do that, then our children go in the wrong way. And then we need to create also the education system. Even in the education, I must tell you this, I was almost in tears actually. I went to Ethiopia to the universities. They asked me to mock defense, PhD defense, and I went to a few universities to help them. Then one of them, when they gave the lecture, they said over 90% of the elementary and secondary school teachers in the area where I was doing this mock defense, the teachers don't know how to teach them. So what does it mean? The children are not educated if they don't know how to teach. I remember when I was a student, it was serious. I mean, we're really highly educated. You know, when I was there, I won a World Youth Forum, and I had to go to America. I finished my high school in America. I became #1. I wrote 3 essays, and I became #1 in Africa or something. They gave me that like that, and then they took me. That's how that happened to me. I mean, the education then when the Emperor Haile Selassie was there, whatever, there was an elite system, but the education was good. But later they add numbers. They say we have so many universities, but what are you graduating? So many high schools, what are you graduating? So many elementary schools, what are you graduating? What's the quality? How do you measure it? How do you evaluate? And what is the moral education? You shouldn't, earlier on our sister Malika said, we shouldn't make it religious education. We should be moral education. Moral intelligence is what we need, meaning values that share, care, also relate with each other without hurting each other. You know, not just for collaboration, cooperation, not selfish interest. So for selfish interests hurting people, this kind of thing is what we need in Africa. That's our Ubuntu. Our philosophy is like that. If our philosophy will not only save us, the whole world, but we don't value the philosophies we have. We don't even know it. We don't even get educated in it. We don't even put it in the curriculum. So that's our biggest challenge, my brothers and sisters. It's very, very tough. But we need now an Osiris University, which actually can develop a comprehensive one, and it can be a model. We make it a model. We all work together practically and deliver something. And once the graduates also do some interesting things, and they continue with a different mindset, not the kind of mindset that, from the colonial and all these other things that have happened. And we just bring in a new value, then I think that'll be a wonderful example. We need a role model. We need to create one together. I think that's the best way from all this problem. It's not good to state about repeating the problem continuously all our lives, but we need solutions. And then if we create something, we then say, look at the model. We have a new now. We created this. Forget that what you are doing. Something like that we should be able to say. Not continue to stress all the problems. Go beyond the problems. I think that's what we need. Some solutions, some practical solutions. Thank you very much.
Malika, please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much. This was a very informative lecture. My question is around leadership. In the beginning of the lecture, you said that we have so many idiots, and I agree with you. It's actually a problem around the world. So my question is, why do we have so many idiots, and why do people in academia or people who are truly qualified do not go for, being a leader? The second question is, when the Arab Spring happened, we all got so excited and that things will change in Middle East and maybe, the nearing countries. But it seems like it all went in vain and died out. The enthusiasm also, died out. And we don't have those revolutionaries anymore. So what's happening?
Should I say, or is there more questions?
No, that's it.
No, leadership curse is what Africa has. Let me tell you why we have this leadership challenge. You see, when we decolonized in the 1960s, the state system was left by the colonial powers. All what was replaced was not the structure or the system or the way to govern, anything like that. It's just the individuals. In other words, the colonialists left, but they put those people they know. And if you if you say something different, if you are, then they fight you. In other words, they remove you because they already have the contacts, and also because in the colonial system, you see, the aid they give, they continue to give aid. You see, so the leaders always have connections, so they actually get advice, they get instruction from outside, than they do it from their own people.
It's like cancer, stage 3.
Yes, absolutely. So that colonial system has not changed. We didn't decolonize. We're neo-colonized. You see, it didn't become, that's why Kwame Nkrumah said, let's unite or perish. What he meant by that was, if we unite, we could decolonize. If we remain divided, they still will control us. Look what is happening now. In the 14 states that the French used to colonize, over 65% of their reserves are in French banks. When these countries say they want their money, their own money, they pay interest to the French banks. What is this? I mean, sincerely speaking, the French are colonizing us more now than when they were formerly colonizing us. They are the worst colonials, trust me. Forgive me, I'm sincerely telling you. And now when Mali was trying to do it, look what other African states do, the Nigerians and the Ghanaians and everything. They side with the French. Why? Why? It's wrong. I think we have serious challenges. So our leadership curse, the state system curse, it still exists. We need to change it. The only way we could change it also is maybe by creating, like this university now we are now thinking about, and we are now discussing honestly, frankly, really genuinely, like we know each other for 100 years. I think I knew Malika now for 100 years. No, we're discussing as if we know each other all the time, you see, and honestly. Then when we know each other, we do it. Then if we graduate people and they become leaders, then maybe now changes might take place. I don't know. We need to, now the change has to come from bottom up. We cannot rely on these guys there. They are already totally stolen. They are in the hands of these colonialists.
But my question is, why someone smart like you will not go into politics? And try to...
No, Malika, I hate politics.
Oh, okay.
No. The reason.
Then Professor
no,
Osiri, someone.
No,
We
no.
need
Since
people like you.
No, my Marika, can I just say to you, this politics is very rough. Somebody like me, I'm not interested in money. I'm not interested in anything like that. Sincerely speaking, I say to my students, be my teachers. Teach me, that's what I say. And I do, I make them create something. When they create something, then I say, you taught me. You see, they create something and they do some interesting things. So if we are people like that, they don't like us. No, sincerely. And if I become in a politics, I'll be saying the right thing. And then these guys will immediately kill me. That's what they would do. So politics is rough in Africa. I think we need to change the system completely. The education system has to be integrated. We need to integrate everything, the community, the university system, all, all the functioning that we do together. Then we create some arrangement where we say the people own it. For example, let me just give you a concrete example. Norway, in 1996, they had oil. They had oil. They got oil. It's nothing almost compared to compared to other places. Norway didn't have a lot. So what happened was when they did it, what happened was they said let's create a sovereign wealth fund. They debated for 1 year. What should we do with the oil? Should we give it to the states? They said no. Should we give it to the companies? No. To the people of Norway? Yes. Can I just tell you now? Literally all the people of Norway are now have become millionaires. No, genuinely. The wealth they set up is for the people of Norway. I went to the University of Oslo. They invited me to give a keynote or something. Then when I was there for a week, I swear to you, every time when I say, let me pay something for you, they say, no, Mammo, what's the matter with you? We're so rich. That's what they told me. That's what I remember. That's what I was told by all the Norwegians. Why they did it. Look at us. We have everything. But the people of Africa don't own it. Our people are the poorest in the world. Why? When we have all this wealth. Because we don't know how to manage it. We don't even learn like the sovereign wealth fund that the Norwegians created for little oil they have. Imagine if the DRC Congo created it. The whole of Africa will be rich. It's too much wealth. We'll all be millionaires. Trust me. I mean, that's the problem we have. We're not doing it properly. But how do we then create a leadership which says, let the people of Africa own the wealth of Africa? Not the French, not the Belgians, not all this, yeah, you get me, all these colonial powers that you still influence us. I think it's very complicated. That's our biggest problem. So I don't know how we can change it, but we should try to understand it and change it. And then, of course, I don't know whether the current leadership will change. Very, very difficult, but we must find a new system. I mean, we need to find it through the education system also. We should try to do the change. We can. That's my suggestion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Manga, we can't hear you for some reason, even though you are on mute.
So, can we finish? Because
yes.
In
10 minutes.
we should finish. Yeah, because I have another meeting.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, we'll be done like in about 8 minutes. We'll be done. Yes, we have just.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Dr. Manga.
Hello,
we can't hear you, Dr. Manga. What happened? What happened to your stuff?
Muted, maybe. Unmute. Tell him to unmute. Hello.
Oh, it's not that. He's on mute, but we can't hear him anymore.
Oh. What happened? I don't know. You can't hear him. Is he unmuted? Unmute. Tell him to unmute.
He's on mute. He's on mute.
Yeah. But maybe the system. Is it the system?
I suggest you rejoin because sometimes it can be those technical issues.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, this is a good place for us to end. Unfortunately, we can't hear you, Dr. Manga. Let's go ahead and call it a day. I'm so sorry we couldn't hear you, okay? But it's been an amazing session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in.
Yeah.
And have a wonderful weekend. Please,
The same.
Go ahead, Samira, go ahead.
Brother Muchie, how can we connect with you?
Should I put my email there for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let me just send it.
Okay, thank you so much for your enlightening wisdom.
No, you're lovely. Thank you so much. We'll keep in touch, and I'll introduce you also to my former PhD student, who is now a professor. He can also connect you to the universities in Somalia. I'm also connected to them. Yeah, we're connecting.
Okay.
I'll just give you.
While you send your email, Adrian, what link are you asking for?
Oh, the link was to his book that he showed us on the phone. So he has his journal, and then he had a link on the phone to something. So whatever that link was.
Oh, no, that is about how there's a new book that came out about, let me just show you. It's a book. It's called How to Make Your Wife Happy.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So we want to make sure that Africans make their wives happy. African men.
Thank you, Professor Muchie. Thank you.
Do they know how to do it or not? I don't know. Yeah. The book is quite. It took a long time to write it, but it's well written, and it's very important that you all read it. When it comes out, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to our brother Osiris so he can share it with all of you. I think it would be something we could do. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sarena, she left? Oh no, she didn't. Did you see it?
Yeah, thank you. I'll definitely send you an email.
Okay, you just send me, and also the link. I could send you the link later, but we'll definitely keep in touch. Definitely, we'll definitely support you. Oh,
thank you.
Let's take picture now, all of us, before we go, especially the children. Don't go with the children.
They are so cute.
They're so cute.
Thank you. Say hi. Say thank you.
They're lovely children. Yes, I want to see the children. Yes, they are cute like you. Yeah? I had when I was in.
Shanae, come up if you can. Shanae and Cyril and Olu, come up. Camera, if you can.
Yes, I got them. I got it. Yes.
All right. One more, please. Cyril and Olu, camera on, please. Okay, one more. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I got it. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you so much,
So
Prof.
I had students, Samira, I had students also from London. I had two. I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
From Djibouti and from Somalia.
I look forward to hearing.
And then I'll tell you the story. I tried to connect them together, but I'll tell you.
Okay.
The clan system was a bit an issue.
Bye-bye. Ubuntu.
Bye.